મુલ્લા સાહેબ, તમારા સ્ટુડન્ટ્સ બહુ ઘણા બધા હતા અને એમાંથી તમે કોઈ એવા સ્ટુડન્ટ્સ જેના પર તમને ફખર હોય કે જે લોકો આગળ નીકળી ગયા અને કોમની સેવામાં અને દીનની સેવામાં બહુ કામ કર્યા હોય, તો એમાં કોણ કોણના નામ આવશે?
જો મને જ્યાં સુધી હું જોઉં છું ત્યાં સુધી હું કહી નહીં શકું, પણ તે પછી વખત એ આવ્યો કે બચ્ચા બધા માઇગ્રેટ થઈને કોઈ અમેરિકા કે કોઈ ગયા છે, આત્માને ગયા છે. તો અમેરિકામાં અમુક બચ્ચાઓ જે આવતા હતા અહીંયા મારી પાસે, સાંભળું છું કે ત્યાં જ્યાં ગયા છે ત્યાં તેઓ મદ્રસાઓ પણ શરૂ કર્યું છે. સમજ્યા? કર્યું ત્યાં શરૂ કર્યું છે. બીજે હશે બીજે ઠેકાને કર્યું હશે, મને ખ્યાલ નથી આવતો.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Nizar Merali, son of Roshan Ali Abdulrasul Merali Deviji, born in Mombasa 1952. I remember my early days in Mombasa in mid to late 60s as a student of Hussaini Madrasa, when our teacher then was Mulla Abdulrasul Khaki. Amongst my colleagues were late Jafar Visram, Ibrahim Karmali, Shabir Walji, Mustafa Pira, and others. I remember after Maghribain we would sit with Mullah regularly and challenge Mullah with all sorts of questions. Some serious, some silly. In fact, I remember one of my own silly questions vividly. I asked Mullah, if during Salah, whilst reciting Surah Al-Hamd, if I yawn, what do I do? Mullah was not only exceedingly knowledgeable in Aqaid, Usul al-Fiqh, but also Islamic history, which was really his pet subject. We really did, amongst friends, ask ourselves, isn't it a shame that there are less than 10 of us sitting here every time we sit with Mullah? And yet the larger community is not taking the full advantage and benefit of him. Remember, that was a time when Mullah had not even climbed the mimbar. He hadn't really done any public speaking at all. So we decided that the best way to do this would be to invite a larger crowd. And on a Friday evening after Maghribain, on a regular basis, we got support of some 400 community members who came regularly to listen to Mullah, and we invited other speakers as well, including late Mullah Asghar from Nairobi. I remember inviting him, Marhum Ahmed Sharif Devji, Marhum Ali Bhai Sharif Devji, Mohsin Jafar's father, and Hassan Jafar Marhum, and Mohsin Bhai as well. Of course, it was the food that attracted the people. We served regular meal every Friday. And I remember with my colleagues going from one business, one member of the Jamaat to the other who were in business. We visited their offices and wanting to collect just 50 shillings contribution from each one of them. Until we raised sufficient funds to cover the regular cost of food. I left Mombasa in 1971 to study medicine in Manchester, and until that time at least, the event continued. I can only thank Mullah for all that he did for us and the fundamentals he laid for us, so that when we faced the challenges in the Western world, where we were aliens in the beginning, we were robust enough in our Aqidah and in our Islamic, in our understanding of Islam, to face whatever we faced. Thank you very much.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Murtaza Ghulam Hussain. I was born in Mombasa, Kenya, and I currently reside in London, United Kingdom. I have known Mulla Abdulrasul Khaki since I would say the age of 6 when I joined the madrasa, and I always recall that I've never had another fiqh teacher other than Mulla Abdulrasul Khaki until I was the age of 20 when I left madrasa. Mulla Abdulrasul is a well-known personality in Mombasa, particularly for those who wanted to understand the fiqh masala. In those days, we didn't have social medias or internets, or to that extent even the Tawzi'ul Masail books the way we have today in English. Everybody relied on Mulla Abdulrasul Khaki, the whole of Mombasa. I recall even my mother, whenever she had any masalas that she would want to ask, would call Mulla Abdulrasul Sahab at his shop and ask questions. He was the most humble, and I would say the most humble person or personality I have seen in Mombasa. Always dressed in white, attesting to his purity of his heart. And although he ran a business, he had a shop in Mombasa where he used to sell clothings. He would always give priority to any phone calls about religious requirements before his business. Mullah Sahab was and has always been my only fiqh teacher. My first contact with him was in madrasa, in Hussaini madrasa, as a teacher who taught me not only Quran, but also the basic masails to start off with, and also as we became teenagers, all the relevant masails. Mullah Sahab has also been our mentor for the community as a whole, the one who was to recite the du'as and conduct the amals during the auspicious nights of Qadr and also 15 Shaban. And also he has been instrumental in mentoring us all. Whenever he had the opportunity to do so, that would include during open days or when there were any student gatherings. The one incident that I cannot forget, I'm quite proud of, is those of my age will recall that we used to have an annual exhibition in Mombasa where we used to demonstrate anything religious or even scientific for the members of the community. And there used to be prizes. And we were actually recommended by Mulla Abdulrasul to serve the community by doing a demonstration. At that time, it was part of our fiqh syllabus, was how to shroud or give kafan to a mayyat. And because of his perseverance and the way he taught us, we, alhamdulillah, we managed to do that. The public benefited, and we ended up getting a prize for that. And alhamdulillah, I was the lead on that demonstration. And the fact that Mulla Abdulrasul really not only appreciated what we did, but he so struck into his mind that once when he was not around in Mombasa and there was a mayyat, and we all know whenever there's a mayyat, the first call goes to Mulla Abdulrasul. They called him and they said, so how do we give kafan? And I recall that my name was actually mentioned by Mulla Abdulrasul and said, why don't you call Murtaza? He will actually talk you through the whole process. I'm quite proud of that. The one special message that I would like to give Mullah Sahab is that his services to the community, of course, will not be forgotten, not only by us, but also by Allah, who will give him his ajr and reward. But I think what he should be really proud of is that all the Mombasa boys that are around the world today, in various fields, especially those who are teaching in madrasa, surely there's a major part played by Mullah Sahib in making sure that they have that upbringing, that they are now serving the community around the world.
Bismillah Rahman Rahim. My name is Muhammad Raza Jan Muhammad of Orlando, Florida. And though born in Zanzibar, have been raised and lived more than 40 years of my first part of life in Mombasa. I have been given this difficult task to say and speak about a lofty personality of Mulla Abdulrasul Khaki, who is very well known as Mullah Sahib. And he was not only a father figure for most of us or all of us, but rather me in particular, ever since my childhood. The activities of such a legend is not easy to describe. It is one of the most difficult tasks that we can, as we cannot count his sacrifices and selfless dedication. One of the most important aspects was his sacrifice in teaching of Deen. This is something that we emphasize, since in every city of East Africa where the Khoja Shia Itnashris reside, people always came forward for the last 100 years to come forward and teach Deen to the next generation. Mullah Sahib tops them all. He is a figurehead that handled all the three major aspects of imparting of Deen of Islam: the Mimbar, the Mihrab, as well as the Madrasa. Mullah Sahib's legendary works is such that there are so many of his students today who are Muballigin, serving various communities across the world. Mullah's contribution in various capacities has been beyond par. Mullah Sahib has been given the tawfiq to teach almost 3 generations. In this, we see him excel every now and then, and he has excelled in these fields at all levels. Another sacrifice that Mullah is also very well known for and has touched practically every family in Mombasa is his sacrifices when death occurred in a family. Mullah would rush and even close his own business, never looked at any of his personal issues, and went ahead and served the community and the families who were bereaved. In the instance of my own late father, who passed away so suddenly in Mombasa, Mullah and his entire family went beyond duty to not only ensure that all the rights of the dead were taken care of, but they even went ahead and consoled our entire family, because it was a great loss to us. Mullah Sahib, to describe him is a very difficult task because of his taqwa, because of his selflessness, his dedication, his patience, his humility, and the list goes on. The roles that Mullah had affected me in person, for example, was teaching at Madrasa. He was not only my mentor, but Mullah Sahib was always available anytime, whether in the day or night, to answer any questions, and he was my support and fallback. Mullah Sahib, when I taught in Madrasa for over 18 years, he was one who always instilled into us that we must give out the right values and the correct teachings and principles of the Ahlul Bayt to the next generation. He always encouraged us to teach at Madrasa, because when we teach, it is also a process of learning in itself. It is a tawfiq of Allah that has great rewards that cannot be compared or cannot be counted for in this such a short video. Teaching itself is self-study. However, he emphasized that volunteering to teach at the madrasa is a choice. But once we accept and choose that path, then it becomes a responsibility, and we are accountable in the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for how we teach and what we teach. Mullah Sahib always insisted that we have to live as role models, since parents as well as teachers are role models, and we must live by example, and that is practice what we preach. His sincerity of purpose and purity of intentions, insha'Allah, are only for Baqiyatus Salihat, a path that he would, or insha'Allah, be given in abundance by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. An interesting event was when my cousin and myself decided snaply to go for Hajj when we were yet teenagers. Mullah, a typical role model, did not hesitate and called us to his home in the night and taught us every masail and every aspect of Hajj and what we should expect there, which was the turning point of our lives. To give a message for Mullah Sahib's activities, sincerity and dedication is a very difficult task. I can only say that he has been an inspiration for me and for many like me, and a role model. Whenever I have been given the tawfiq to serve the community, Mullah Sahib was always my role model and my inspiration. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant him a long and healthy life with lots of tawfiq. Ameen Ya Rabbal Alameen. Wa salli ala Muhammadin wa alihi at-tahirin.